They're going to complain about it. They're going to tell you stories about why not and who he isn't. But Patrick Mahomes will prove everyone wrong in yet another Super Bowl coming at you right now. Super Bowl 58. It's officially Super Bowl week. I'm excited about it, folks. Welcome into RGR football. The team is on the ground in Las Vegas. They arrived there tonight. Lot of excitement, clearly. Not just the team, but the pilots as well. It's always nice when you get a little bit of a show of diversity there. And in Vegas, when you land and you fly that flag, you're bound to get some attention, but glad that they did. It is officially kicking off Super Bowl week. Welcome in. This is RGR. I am Ryan Tracy, founder of Rogue Analytics, as well as NFL33.com. That's where all of our football, draft cycle, team building, all of it is there. So join NFL 33 if you haven't already. I am flying solo tonight. So we are going to try to get through with the internet connection as it is. Been a big storm out here in Colorado this week. We've been all over the state, back and forth about just sporting events. And late tonight, we got delayed thanks to the exemplary performance. Shout out to Juggernaut Volleyball. I had a nice day out, and I'm very happy for you girls and what you were able to accomplish today. We're going to get to all the football tonight. This is a strange one. Normally, this is Sunday Night Live when we do post-game. This is going to be our first look at pregame. We are brought to you tonight by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you check them out and use our code RGR if you want to get in on the action. They have some specials coming for you as well, and a lot of good stuff. We're going to run it down all week long, but tonight, make sure that you check them out because they do a heck of a job, and we appreciate it when you guys support the people that support us. Tomorrow night is the Q&A, where you guys are going to run the show. Dan and I are just going to do the answers. Super, super simple. But the thing that I wanted to start with tonight, for all of you that might be new, whether you're watching this live on Sunday evening or maybe on replay, maybe it's Monday morning, like and sub to this channel and hit that bell so you find out what comes next, because there's always something next. Whether it's a brand new premiere of one of the segments you haven't seen, whether it's these live streams that we do all the time, either answering your questions or showing you the game. That's what we're here for, is to explain the game and break it down for you. Some of the reasons why, especially the stuff that to the outside doesn't make much sense. Frankly, sometimes what the Chiefs do doesn't make sense to us. But I think arriving on a Sunday night well ahead certainly, I think, sets them up for success. The acclimation point, I know it's not a huge time jump. Sometimes time zones can mess with you, but I think getting there ahead of schedule with a nice time for adjustment, I think really helps. I'm going to stack some of your questions because I see that there's a ton in here already, as well as the super chatters. If you want to support the channel, the super chat's the way to go. It's super simple and it's easy and it's quick. Feel free. Every super chat gets an answer tonight. You're going to see a bunch of questions from our members as well. Members get all the goods. They get all my game notes, at least when I'm not live at the game or indisposed at that point. They get all the rants. They get all the inside information that we have. That's going to become particularly important when it comes to Chiefs draft coming up later this offseason. And I think there's going to be a lot of discussion tonight. I'm going to try to keep it onto the field. I do see some other questions in here. I'm stacking those up. We will get to them as well. But for you members, you get a little bit of insight there. We do have member streams only that will be coming in the postseason as well. We'll try to get some prep if we can. Difficult week. This is a big week. Still may be on site in Las Vegas. Yet to be determined whether that's actually going to work out or not. But be prepared because you might see me there. You might see me here. But we will have it covered for you all the way breaking down the Super Bowl. So I'm stacking these up. And I like the general positivity in here. Yes, there's some questions. I know there's some news today. Again, going to try to keep it mostly to the facts on the field, the things that I can explain, because honestly, I don't know a lot of the off the field things, especially with non-players, that kind of thing. So bear with me as we get to that. But I really wanted to set the whole thing up here. And that is from the bottom line that there's a lot of naysayers. There's been comments here on the channel, some that I've had to delete. So if you're a non-fan of this team and you're just dropping by to leave your opinion, more than welcome. You start cussing me out or the team out or whatever, I'm just going to delete you. So it's super, super simple. We try to play nice around here. We try to actually talk ball. So if you're just here to be a rah-rah fan for the Raiders or the Niners, just be on your way. Not a big deal. We're actually going to talk about ball. So be prepared for that. And Gary's in the house tonight. Our resident, one of our OGs around here, Gary Holland, he's going to be manning, and hopefully, Gary, it'll be nice and easy. Cross my fingers in the chat tonight. But that's the bottom level of the memberships gets in the chat, and you get a little bit of preference. It makes it easier for me to see. If you are not a member yet and you want to get a question answered, please put some question marks at the beginning of it, and I will get to those. We're going to do as many as we can tonight. Tomorrow will be the whole show like we normally do. And it just keeps coming back to me that the naysayers that have been in here, the naysayers that have been all over, X, Facebook, I'm sure as well, although I have not been heavy on Facebook. It's been a couple years since I did that just because it got too gnarly to the point where there was no conversation anymore. So it's really limited to X. And that's just the fact that nobody wants the Chiefs to win outside Chiefs Kingdom. Nobody wants Patrick Mahomes to be as good as he is. People claiming that he's not the best in the game yet. Fair enough. I think if you want to feel that way, you can feel that way. If you want to run somebody down because of it, that's where I draw the line. So we're just going to boot them. But the thing is here, Patrick can prove them all wrong just by doing what Patrick does. He's been so legitimate with the ball in this postseason. That's what it comes down to, is just taking care of business, not having to be a super robot that just gets it all done, that is always looking for the deep ball. He just has to manage himself and manage the offense to keep moving down the field over and over and over. And I am going to get to that one. Daryl from one of our members as well. Latrell, nice to see you. A lot of our members in here tonight. And I'm setting this thing up to get to some of your questions later. Because for Mahomes, it's not just about getting a win. It's not just about winning a championship ring. He's got a few of those. It's about assigning that one on to the end for what I already feel this is a dynasty. Just the fact that you've been to so many AFC championship games and now 4 Super Bowls here in this 5-year span. There's really not much more that needs to be said. They're approaching the point where the rest of the league is starting to recognize, and that's why you're going to have all the naysayers show up, and that's why you're going to have all the people running it down, and that's why you're going to have to kind of just deal with that, because unfortunately we're into Patriots territory now, where you're going to get everybody's best ball game and you're going to get everybody's lowest cut verbally when they just want to run somebody down. So what can he do? He can come out there and get a W and just seal the whole thing up. He can come out there and be the MVP and seal that up. There's a difference between being the best player to play the game and the winningest player. There's a difference between being an elite quarterback and a guy that leads a team to victories and championships and dynasty. They overlap quite a bit. The Venn diagram has circles going everywhere, but they definitely have some differences as well. So for Patrick Mahomes, the guy that's going to lead this team in not just passing, but in attitude, in preparation, I think we've heard more and more from the players here that it is what he brings to the table that really sets them on their path. And I'm glad to hear that. I certainly feel that way as well. But to be recognized by your peers, I think, is what comes down to the ultimate recognition. I think that's how the team gets its vibe. I think that's how the team sets itself up. And yes, there's still a week of preparation. There's still plenty of game planning that they have to do, right? Like the plan's in. I shouldn't say game planning. It's game prep that has to happen because the game plan's in. Andy wanted to have that sorted and done away with before they left town today and arrived in Vegas. So they've done that. They're squared away. They are going to proceed. The question becomes, who's going to be available? And we had, for those of you who didn't see it, we're going to take a quick look here as I share the screen. So we're all on the same page of it. If I can get it to come up. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to take a look at here is the fact that this is the injury report simulated for a lot of it, right? So you have a couple of guys, Amenahue, obviously, with the ACL is listed as out. Questionable Tooney, questionable Moore, questionable Prince Tega Wanago. I don't know that I expect Wanago to come up to get back available. You hope that Joe Tooney would be, but Joe Tooney's a long shot. Let's be real. Is there a minuscule chance? Is there a 5 or 10% chance that Joe Tooney plays? Yes, absolutely. Stranger things have definitely happened in this league, and especially for this ball game. This is what guys, there are guys that would kill to be in this game because they spend their careers, Dan Marino, not getting there. And that regret is so not just, oh, yeah, Casey, you have no idea, brother. This is the dumbed down version. 20 tabs is nothing. There are guys that would kill to be in this position, and it overlays not just a single person like Dan Marino for sake of argument, but for the whole organization, even though he's still involved. That, and I don't want to put it as a failure. That last hurdle to overcome to get that kind of recognition, that fuels everybody. This team is already past that because most of the guys on this roster have had at least, if not a taste, a glimpse. It's difficult, obviously, if you're a rookie or if you just joined this roster to get there. But not having Joe Tooney, he's been there. The rest of these guys have to step up. Obviously, Nick Allegretti, I do feel like he played exactly how we expected him to last week. Big strength in the run game, serviceable in the pass game. I think that's going to happen again when you take a look at what's coming. You're going to hear guys complain all week long. Bosa's already started it. The BS about, hey, they hold every play. So does everybody in every game on every offensive line. There's holding every single play. So just get past it, especially if you guys are going to voluntarily give yourself up. And what I mean by that is when a pass rusher rips underneath, that arm goes over by the offensive tackle, and that is a natural call. They will not give you a penalty for that. There, Nick Bosa, not going to get the call. I hate to tell you at this point, yes, you're elite pass rusher in this league. You're not going to get that call over Patrick Mahomes because of what he is as well. That's just the bottom line. Love to see this. Daryl, I appreciate you, buddy. That is pushing 3 years worth of membership here to keep this channel driving, and we appreciate you. You guys do the work, and you keep us afloat and keep us coming back for more. And we hope that we continue to deliver for you. We're going to talk about a couple of your other questions as we get along, but FLDB, same thing. Oh, nice timing, by the way, you two sitting there together. I like it. I got a ton stacked up here, so we're going to get into them here in a second. But I want to finish the thought in that even with Joe Tooney out, I would love to see Sky Moore come back. Jerick McKinnon has been designated to return so he can practice. We'll see if that actually happens. That's a long shot, but how great would that be, right? That's an additional weapon on top. Obviously, what I hope doesn't become a story this week is going to be Kadarius Toney. There's no way to tell whether it's going to stay under the radar or if it's going to get brought out. Hopefully he stays off Instagram and everything will settle itself out. We're going to see what happens. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but no, absolutely no guarantees. So with that said, Underdog Fantasy, go over there and hit RGR in the code if you want to get in the action. Support the folks that support us. Chief Belief, thank you. 38 months topping in here right now. I believe, I don't know, you other members, let me know. Do you think that Jet plays or not? Either way, Chiefs by 20. You guys are always awesome. Let's go. Thank you, Chief Belief. My gut tells me it's a 50-50, like right down the middle, like let's see what he does in practice. We should hear tomorrow whether he's out there, even in a limited way. If he's anything more than limited this week, I think he goes. If he doesn't, because if he can't get past limited, then I think it's probably a long shot. My gut tells me coming off of a surgical repair to a hernia and a hip fracture, let's be real. Hip fractures normally happen to 50-plus-year-olds. That's a tough one. And I don't know the specifics of the injury, whether it was simple pelvic bone, whether it was a hip joint. They're very different things. But let's hope and not rush him. Same thing with Tooney. If he's good to go and he can play at his level, if he can play, say, 90% of his level, then I say go for it. Let's let him play. And I want to just say cheers to you guys, and cheers to one of my all-time favorites out here at Odell. Wire Walker's their new double IPA, and I enjoy it. So cheers to you. It's been a very long weekend. From white knuckling in a snowstorm to 12 hours of competitive ball here today. So let's enjoy that. Believe, thank you. Appreciate it. Scott, thank you. Thoughts on Mizzou's Darius Washington, and will he be there at pick 30? That's the bigger question. I will give Darius credit. On film, I had done, I think, 3 games. I usually try to push to 5 if a guy's going to be in the top 50. And I had him just as a borderline there, so I hadn't gotten there. But I saw him in person, and, I was down in the pit right behind D-line one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl and got a good up-close look at him. And he's right there. My problem is I feel like he's perfect for this Chiefs defense. Let's be real, just from the get-go. But he is more like an Amenahue in that I think he's just as good inside and at times maybe better inside. Coming wide off of a speed rush on the side, I'm not sure that's what helps you. And unfortunately, I think he overlaps what George Karlaftis does a lot. He is a little bit more powerful. At least he showed that last week. I have to see the timing because it's all apples and oranges until you put it all together. But he's not the speed rusher. He's not the explosive first step. He's got a good first step, but it's not boom, ducking under Brian Burns, old Von Miller or anything like that. So unfortunately, he overlaps just a little bit. I could still see it as a possibility if they trade back. But the big question is your second one is, will he be there at 33? And that's a big question. I don't know. He bought himself a lot of goodwill in Mobile. Now, he still got to go improve it in terms of like being able to be timed and reinforce what was on that film. Because there are times, as good as some of the tackles that he went against, and he was on the national side, and I do believe that was the better roster in Mobile, and he did give them a good look. But I'm not sure the tackles, as good as they were, they're more the athlete type. In terms of dealing with power, I think there's a little bit to be desired from all of them. So got to go back to the film, in my opinion. And I think teams will do that, and I think he's going to be right on the cusp there. He could go 3 picks before the Chiefs. He could go 4 after him. But if they move down out of 50, I don't think he'll be there. Thanks, Scott. Adam, thank you, buddy. Hope you're doing well up north. Who do you believe benefits more from playing and practicing against each other in the past, Mahomes or Charvarius Ward? That's a great question. And I think, unfortunately for Charvarius, it's not Charvarius learning what Pat does. It's Charvarius being able to attack what the wide receivers do. I think Charvarius Ward has the advantage on Justin Watson. I think he has the advantage right now on Rashee Rice in terms of experience and understanding how to play the ball. I think he has an experience on basically everyone else except for 2 facets. If Kadarius Toney plays, Kadarius Toney has better change of direction. He can break routes off on him and get away from him. I do believe that MVS can run away from him over the top as well. Charvarius is fast, but I think MVS can stretch him and get past him. The question is, can you win the rep in the first 5 yards so that you have that opportunity? And right now, I think Charvarius Ward is gaining that. But Pat also knows some of his weaknesses. He understands that when his back's turned, if you put it on that outside shoulder, you're going to have a 65%, maybe more chance of completing that ball because he understands who Charvarius is. And that's what it comes down to. So as we try to look at the ups and downs, I think right now, overall for doing his job, I think Charvarius has a little bit more advantage against the receivers. But Patrick, should he need to, I don't think we'll hold back at going at Charvarius Ward. Thanks, buddy. Thank you, Justin. Chiefs are going to dominate the Niners just like last week. In terms of on the play-to-play, I could see where you're coming from. I feel like the Niners are a better team overall, just in terms of like position by position by position. But will the numbers, particularly the scoreboard numbers, show that as well? I hope domination is there, even if the play-to-play is a little bit closer. Gary, I really enjoy your part of the channel. Keep it going. Thanks. Appreciate you, TK. We try to here. It's been a long time coming, and we do what we do best, and we try to double down on that every chance that we get, and continue to give you the content that breaks down from a coach, from a scout point of view. We try to give you something you can't get everywhere else, and we try to be brutally honest about the ups, the downs, and the real that's in between. So nice to see you. Night Hunter's in, Holly's in, Iron Man made it back. Obviously, Gary and Daryl and Cole's here, and Brenda. Nice to see you. Appreciate you guys all being out here. I'm going to keep gathering a few more questions as we move from topic to topic here. And I'm glad to see this too. Hey, and well done, Colson. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you made it. And I am actually really glad to see this too. I've heard this from several people tonight, HOF, that there's a lot of Chiefs Kingdom in Vegas. So way to travel is what I'm saying to the Kingdom tonight. That's going to help. Let's see. William, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Niners and Purdy have done well versus press man. Is Casey better than most at press man? And do you think Snead and McDuffie can handle Debo and Ayuk in man? I think Snead can certainly handle either. It will be a bigger challenge for Debo because they're going to line him up off where you can't get hands on him immediately in the route. And he plays angles very well. If they do the backfield stuff from him, especially when they line him up, not in the backfield itself, but as either a tight slot, or even more importantly, when they line him up as an H, that's when you really got to watch it. And so then that comes to the rest of the defense, playing sound fundamentals and allowing that. But Ayuk, I like, he's physical, so is Snead, so is McDuffie. I think, as we've seen most of the season, the matchup is going to be, do they travel Snead on Ayuk? I don't think you can travel him on Debo because they're going to move him around so much. So I think, do you take Ayuk away and you let team play cover Debo? I think because the way that they want to get creative with him and build off of what Christian McCaffrey does, I think that might be the way to go. And in that case, it might be selective man and everybody else play his own. I could see a cover 6 where Snead just has Ayuk on his own. And so I call that man plus. There's a number of different names for the philosophy around the league. Some cover match 9, straight match, like a bunch of different terms go for that concept. But it's basically like taking your best defender and trying to take away their best receiver, let everybody else play zone around it and try to match up with what they're doing as a compensation to you taking away their number one. And I do feel that they can do that because I think Snead can take away the number one. I think he's proven that all postseason. There's no reason to think that he can't do it again. And thank you guys for bearing with me with the up and down on the interweb here. It's one of those nights, I think. How much impact does Rice have? Keaton, I think he has a pretty significant one. Does he break 100 yards? I'm not sure. I expect them to get doubled. I think they probably travel Chavarius with him, to tell you the truth. Now, Ward, I don't like as much. If I'm the DC, I don't like Ward on the right-hand side of my defense as much as I like him on the left. I don't know if they're going to pull that change, though. So if they do, then it's up to everybody else, and you force the next guy to make the play, whether it's Watson, whether it's Noah Gray. And I think that's probably a sound concept for the Niners. We're going to get more into that as we go through the week here. We're going to have multiple live streams. Don't miss Friday's live stream because we're going to walk you through the Super Bowl game plan, give you all the insights that we've gathered through the week and how we expect them to attack and what we would do to attack on both sides of the ball. Because that's the great thing about the Spags defense. It's not sitting back and waiting for what the Niners do. It's going to attack the San Francisco 49ers. That's what we want, and that's what we expect. Thanks, Keaton. Thank you, Wink. Please, when you start talking about draft guys, tell us the team and position of the guys that you're talking about. Okay, Wink, I will try to keep a hold of that. The guy that I spoke about a little bit before is an edge, Darius Robinson from Mizzou in the area. And you guys can get a rundown of all this, by the way, on NFL 33. I've been doing some updates. In fact, there's a new quick video on NFL 33 on the edges in particular, so check that out as well. Cole, nice to see you, buddy. One of our stalwart members. Do you think that Jerick McKinnon comes back next year? As far as that goes, what do you think will happen regarding whether or not he plays in the Super Bowl? As I said earlier, I'm hopeful, but it's a total toss-up. I don't know the extent or the specificity of what he had surgically repaired, so I can't put a good guess out there. But next year, depending on the outcome of that and what he gets here, unfortunately, if Jerick gets another ring and he does play in this, he'll get a ring if they win either way. But if he plays in this one, he may feel like that injury's enough. Maybe I can go to retire. I don't know. I feel like they love what he does, and I think they would have him back in a blink if he's healthy and ready to go. So I don't doubt that at all. Let's see what happens, and let's cross our fingers that he gets there. Thanks, Cole. TK, thank you again. Need one-on-one on Ayuk or Debo. Again, more, I think, on Ayuk. I do think that they can absorb some of what Debo does by chipping him with a linebacker. And I do think, again, this will become key if Willie Gay is back. Willie Gay, but Leo is athletic, specifically in a straight line, and he's gotten better in being able to be in the right position. He also, if they're getting those kind of end arounds, that kind of thing from Debo, he can be in a position to attack him and knock him off his route, disrupt the timing. I do think the edges can be protected by some of the edge players, and then have McDuffie or maybe even Chamari Connor behind there, ready to take what Debo's doing. The team has been clicking and closing very well. What I mean by that, that's a scouting term you guys are going to hear all off season, is that when they're in zone responsibility, they have to recognize, put their foot in the ground, that's the click, and accelerate down to where they're trying to get to, that's the close. So click and close is what L'Jarius Sneed showed every screen all postseason. He's just crushing that. McDuffie, same thing coming down. It was the hit on Tyreek, right? That's what they need to do for Debo, because you're going to get clean looks. The offense is going to engineer mismatches and space for Debo Samuel. It's about recognizing it and taking it away, coming downhill to take it. Maybe he gets a 2-yard. Maybe you get a TFL. That's what it's got to be. It's about sound tackling, so you don't come down crazy like a freight train and miss him, because he will make dudes miss. It's the quality of the tackling that has to stay as high as it's been. If it does that, I do think that Trent McDuffie in particular is going to be able to handle it. Thanks, TK. Kevin, will Tony be in for kick return only? I don't know that he plays at all. If he does, I think it's probably going to be a bit of both. That's good. All my friends out at Odell, cheers to you. Let's see. Momats. I'm getting deja vu with Mahomes' father getting arrested from 55. Don't get deja vu. It's a completely different thing. It's no one in the building. He doesn't have an effect on the day-to-day. I saw the report too, and it's unfortunate. Really, all you have to do is be concerned about Patrick and his focus. Unfortunately, it's nowhere near the impact to the team in terms of its preparation and who's around the team on a day-to-day basis. He's basically a glorified fan. He's not in the locker room working on game plan or anything like that. There's also, as I understand from the report, there's no medical impact. No one's been injured here. So I don't think there's any of that. So if anyone can sustain a little bit of distraction like this, even within the family member, I think it's Patrick Mahomes. So I do feel like we're going to be okay. But let's see how the reaction goes and how he looks in terms of focus. Daryl, EB fired his OC and Kingsbury in for the Redskins. EB isn't an acquired taste. We all know that. And it certainly continues to be true. I can't say I'm totally shocked. I didn't think it would be Cliff Kingsbury, to tell you the truth, but it is what it is. Some people are going to go for it. I think this is probably what Kingsbury's topped out at. I don't think he's head coach material. As much as Josh McDaniels is not head coach material. I think he's proven that twice now. Both are offensive coordinators and great minds at that. The question is going to be who's he going to have to work with, because Sam Howell ain't it. I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing for EB. I think someone else is going to pull him in, somebody who wants to run the ball, somebody who needs to run the ball, somebody who might have lost an offensive coordinator. There's a couple of those going around too. So I think it might be a blessing in disguise, to tell you the truth, because I don't think they can go forward with the quarterbacks they have in-house. And I think the question mark is going to be at quarterback. Everybody loves this class And there's certainly some exciting players or aspects of players without the correct quarterback-specific tutelage, it's going to be in trouble. And with Kingsbury in particular, he's got the experience with Caleb. I don't know if they're going to get a shot at Caleb. So I don't know that Drake May is really the same kind of fit. So that leads me to think, just gut reaction here, if Cliff has the influence that we think he may, that kind of turns things towards the LSU quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So just be prepared for that. That could be coming at you here when we get down to draft time. So sorry to get too off track. We're gonna get back to Chiefs specific questions, but I appreciate you guys throwing some draft stuff in there. Because if you haven't seen my matrix, the athletic matrix is the only thing. It is the next gen performance sports science out there. It is algorithmic. It takes into account every possibly find, because we don't get the college GPS stuff. When we partner with somebody who shares that, that will be incorporated as well. We're working on a few things, and someday we're going to get there. So keep that apprised. But at NFL 33, we're going to do all of our film breakdowns, the whole nine thing. We're going to give you all the information you need to get ready for this draft. So be prepared. If you guys would hit the like, I would very much appreciate it, as I'm here collecting more of your questions and comments. I very much appreciate you guys. Let's see, Corey's got one. And Latrell, I think you, just to wrap that up, I think that's a definite possibility. Again, what's the quarterback situation going to be? I'm not sticking with what I got there if I'm in charge, but we'll see what EB can do. And they certainly, I think, can put some power behind the run game if EB's there. Don't particularly like it, having to face him, but it is what it is. Let's see. Decimus, McKinnon and Tony have a chance to play, but I am in the minority and would rather just roll who we have been playing with in the playoffs. Have them active, sure, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. McKinnon, if he's truly able to go, then I would find a spot for him. There's a difference there. Is Casey going? How is Casey a dog in this game? Because the San Francisco 49ers have a little bit more, I think, clout. Casey's defense is the better unit in terms of defense to defense, but they haven't been up there for a while. It's still catching some people by surprise. And I don't think that Vegas or anybody else who sets a line is necessarily the most in the know. So I think recency bias definitely plays a part there. So if they are truly still a dog, go with it. Make the most of it. You can get in from us at DraftKings or at Fantasy Underdog Fantasy. Either of them, you can get in the action. The code is RGR at both of them, so check that out as well. A pathetic attempt. Have you seen how many more AFC championships other QBs have? Because there's only 4 that have more than Mahomes. I know, and that's the thing. And in this run, it's elite already. And that's what's dynastic. And that's what people are going to tell you doesn't matter, but it does. And that's just because they don't have him. And that's why. You're going to get a ton of static from Bengals fans. They ain't ever going away, I guarantee you. And now Ravens fans. Bills fans actually have some mutual respect. I find Bills fans to be much more realistic in terms of just how good Mahomes is, because they've lived through it and they've seen it happen and just how special it is. I don't think that the rest of the fan base has really appreciated it as much. Dirty, what happened to the intro song before RGR? You know, we found as YouTube has evolved, that most folks, if you're not one of us already, for you guys, Dirty, that have been here forever, the members and everything, like, you like a little pageantry, right? You like some of the bells and whistles. Most people on YouTube today, if they're going to check out something new, they want right into the information. So we found that the intro was actually hurting us in terms of bringing on new Chiefs fans. And that's really what we're trying to do, grow the channel, but grow Chiefs Kingdom and Rogue Nation in particular as part of it. So we kind of did away with that. I have a feeling that the pendulum will swing back eventually, and YouTube will then, want the creative side back. For all of you that remember the coffee cup days, I've got some cinematography in a background that I like to use. Just need to be algorithm friendly, to tell you the truth, Dirty. But yeah, you can still see it on some of the old ones. And I do use it on some of the features. If you saw the first Chiefs Super Bowl parade, there's a lot of music and stuff on there too. And I can try to get back to that points. Kevin, glad to hear it. Thanks for confirming that they are strong in the vicinity of the strip. I like that, knowing that everybody's down there. Evgeny, appreciate you. Thank you for the support, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Matt, coaching, Chiefs QB, Chiefs weapons, Niners O-line, Niners slight edge on the D-line, push for LBs, secondary Chiefs overall, yes. Special teams Chiefs mostly. Coaching Chiefs, QB Chiefs, weapons, Niners overall. Yep, I'm with you. I see the O-lines as a push. Yeah, I would say I would back that down. And overall, as a group of linebackers, especially in the playoffs, I don't think you could say the Niners have the edge. Maybe in the regular season. But as a group of three, I'm not so sure. Fred's Fred, and he's better than any linebacker on this roster. That's for sure. But outside of that, I'm not sure. Cole, Washington is hiring Kingsbury as the OC. That being said, do you think EB returns as our OC, given the year the offense has had? I think he could definitely return. I don't think he'll be bumped ahead of Matt Nagy. Could they be co-coordinators? Certainly. Could he be assistant head coach and run game coordinator? Absolutely. But I do think someone else is going to give EB a shot at offense coordinator. And I don't know if for his career path, he is that acquired taste we talked about. You got to want somebody that's gruff and that's going to hold everybody accountable, and the players have to be able to deal with it. It sounds like the players were not able to deal with it there, and I don't know if that's on him or on them. If you got some soft players that just can't look in the mirror and understand what's going on, then, well, you got to deal with that from a roster standpoint. But I do think there's room for him to be an offense coordinator and eventually a head coach in this league. So let's hope, and I do believe someone will give him a shot. FLDB, again, this was from before, but cheers to you, brother. And appreciate all you do. If you guys want in the Discord and you're a member, join at the rookie level or above. You get all the extras, including the streams and the videos and my notes and all that stuff. And you can hang out with FLDB, with Stevie Keys, with all of our friends and Rogue Nation in the Discord. That's what Rogue Nation is. And we're going to have some events specifically in there coming up in the offseason that I think you guys will want to be part of. So join up at rookie level or above. Go into Discord, sign in. And in your connections setting, you can sign into your YouTube account, connect them, and you're in like Flynn. Thanks, Frankie. Adam, thank you. Welcome back to the memberships. I know you've been here before, but I appreciate you going back and forth, and welcome back, buddy. Cheese KT, thoughts on how Pat Sr. could affect Mahomes? I mean, again, doesn't sound like he's injured in any way. He didn't hurt anyone, as I understand. Yes, it's a bit of a distraction for today. It was a travel day. I don't think, unless there's something else going on, if he's charged with something else, I don't think it's going to be much of a distraction for Pat. It's more going to be, hey, I have to put that aside and I have to focus and concentrate. Obviously, he's not going to be here for the Super Bowl. If he is, he's going to be incognito. And hopefully that's not a distraction either. So hopefully it just allows Pat to focus. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Do you feel the Niners are better than the Ravens? And I know this was for Dan. Unfortunately, Dan's not going to be able to make it tonight. Family matters. I was super late. He's got family things too. So we elected, I'm just going to do this solo. But do you feel the Niners are better than the Ravens? I actually do. I think their defense is on par, particularly the pass game. And I do think that their offense is better than the Ravens. You guys heard me say it. If it wasn't on here, it was on Locked On. And I was not bashful about it. I didn't feel that what Lamar does would stand up to elite defenses. I don't think that his regular season reflects what he's capable of when you have to take it up a notch. I agree that the same thing is true of Purdy. I think Purdy's weapons are better, though, and I think he can rely. There's going to be a mismatch with Kittle, even if Willie Gay is out there. Obviously, McCaffrey's the best back in the league right now because Nick Chubb is hurt. And until that changes, I think you can give him the crown and let him wear it. But The Chiefs have been better about taking away the weapons. And quite frankly, if it's Christian McCaffrey that you're using as the guy that gets the Chiefs have the advantage overall. So I feel pretty good about that. Thanks, Gary, as always. Will, thank you, buddy. 27 months. You rock. Are you worried about FAU in this game, specifically against the run? Do you think Casey will defend, or how do you think they will defend Christian, George Kittle, Juszczyk, Debo, and Ayuk when San Francisco goes 21 personnel? I'm always worried about FAU against the run. He has not been given the chance to improve that yet. I'm more concerned and more excited about the fact that he's going to get to pass rush this week. He's going to get lined up wide. He's going to be able to do his thing. And if he has been able to make progress doing that while we haven't been able to see practice, he's going to be able to have an impact on this ballgame, because I do believe the Chiefs are going to be able to get them behind the sticks and force them to pass some. That's exactly where they want to be for offense and defense, and I think that will help FAU. Specifically, when they go 21 personnel, it's going to be up to the linebackers to jam the hell out of Juszczyk and George Kittle. And I think that's key. It can't be one or the other. They're going to use some version. They're going to cross them. You're going to get wham blocks from Juszczyk. Juszczyk's going to catch the ball too, and that's going to probably be the big thing. But I expect them to go to base and drop a safety down. I expect you're going to see more man looks at those times. When they go 21, you got to have a single high, and you got to have your outside corners ready to defend, not just Ayuk, but everyone that's going to be out there. They do run a bit of a gamut, to tell you the truth. I want to make sure that I get everybody's names right, because I've been known sometimes for mixing players' names on rosters in the past, and I just want to go back. And what we're going to do is go into PFF, and we're going to go to the conference championships, and I will actually go back to sharing this screen with you guys, and we're going to take a look real quick, not at Baltimore's coverage, but we're going to look at San Francisco. And we're going to take a look specifically at who ran routes. And yes, it's Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Juszczyk would be next. It's Jennings. There are other guys that are going to get targets, but Kendrick Bourne isn't there anymore. Like, the stretchers aren't there anymore. So I think you can play over the top. You can play cover 3 if you need to. The Chiefs don't want to, but they can. But I think on those 21 looks, I think you're going to get more man coverage. I hope that you're going to get some kind of subterfuge on the safety situation as who's dropping. Maybe give them a too high look and somebody's coming down. We're going to have to see how Spags chooses to do that, but it's going to be up to the linebackers to play their assignments. They have to be specifically in run fits. Nick Bolton has to be absolutely 100% sound in his run fits, because they're going to try to stretch. They're going to try to power. They're going to run duo. They're going to run a bunch. I think they're going to put the whams back in this week. That's what I would do if I were them, especially if Derek Notty's not there, where you feel you can let somebody penetrate and trap him, come across the formation. I think there's options there. So it's up to the linebackers to keep everybody safe and stay behind and stay on task on assignment. That's going to be the key there, Will. Again, we're going to run through this later in the week. We're going to give you the absolute breakdown on Friday. Don't miss the live stream Friday. That's going to be the goods to get you set up for the Super Bowl. Now, if we can't sign Chris Jones, that is re-sign, apologies. If we can't re-sign Chris Jones, is it smarter to package draft capital and try to get a stud, or instead wait for a coveted player to fall and make more targeted trade-ups? I think what the Chiefs will do is make targeted trade-ups. I think there is a possibility to go after someone of impact. If you get a shortfall, if you get somebody to 15, I think it's worth going up to get. In this class, you could see one of the top tackles fall that far. There's enough tackle volume in this group now that I think you could see that. I think you could see some wide receivers fall as well. The more quarterbacks that get pushed up, and I do think quarterbacks are going to get pushed up, I don't think it's just the 3 that go in the first round at this point. That's more opportunity for the Chiefs to get someone within a short trade range. I don't have a specific target in mind, but I don't think it's going to be a defensive tackle. While I like some of the defensive tackles here, particularly Byron Murphy, his buddy Sweat put on a pretty good show in Mobile. Excuse me. Sorry for that one. I don't think there's a defensive tackle prospect to go up and trade up in the top 15 for, even Murphy. So I do think that it comes back to what are your other keys, and that's left tackle specifically, offensive tackle and wide receiver. So let's see if they choose to see the same thing. Ryan, how do you feel the defense will do against the Niners run game? I mean, let's give them their due. I don't think the Chiefs are going to stymie them like they did the Ravens. They're able to shut the Ravens run game down. Let's be real honest. But I don't think they're going to have as much success. But I don't care. As long as Christian McCaffrey isn't breaking off 60-yard touchdowns, if he has 100 yards, if he has 120 yards on the ground, I'm not too worried about it. If that's how they have to move their offense, that has the advantage for the Chiefs. Because unless they're getting those huge explosives, that means that they're having to rely on a pass game that I think the Chiefs are suited for. There's even a possibility when they go 21, especially in short yardage, where you are going to pack the box and you're going to double both Samuel and Ayuk. And I think there's a possibility there that they might be able to handle it a little bit better than we think, but it's not going to be as good as it was against the Ravens. Thanks, Gary. Do you see any corner blitzes in the Super Bowl? Absolutely. I think you're going to see Spags use everything all the time. I don't think it's like it's kitchen sink time. There is no more holding back. There is no more, hey, we'll keep this for next week. It is everything that we got, we're going to use when it works to our advantage. And I do think that there's times. One of the wrinkles that I think you might see is the Niners try to stack Debo and Ayuk together and try to do what the Chiefs have done in the past sometimes. And that is put your two best players on one side and try to make those DBs make decisions. They know the Chiefs are young. They might try to force that. If they do, I think you could see the backside blitz really easily right there. Especially if we see that, I'm probably bringing a double backside blitz. I'll go zone in the backside. I'll send safety and corner and make that backside tackle do his job. And that means Purdy hits his back foot on a 3-step drop and the ball's got to be out or he's dead. And I'm all for that. I think Spags is going to do a ton. And maybe some things, hopefully, that we haven't seen before. I would love to see that. I am for the new breed because that's my favorite side of the ball. My favorite part is the blitz game. And I love to learn new things too. I know a ton. I don't know everything. So I am ready to learn from more Steve Spagnuolo. I'm up for that. Excuse me. Let's see here. If there's anybody that needs to be popped, you guys, let me know. Because I'm not sure if I'm reading the chat right. I'm not up to speed. Gary, you should be able to bounce anybody who's getting out of line. And if it gets to that point, I'll do it myself. Thank you for the question. Jen Spartan 8. Oregon, hope you're doing well. Ray, pretty pathetic when you try to sway refs that early. Yeah, I mean, I guess that wasn't for me. I must have clicked the wrong thing. But hey, yeah, swaying refs I don't think actually happens, especially from the fan base. My gut tells me the concern is with the LBs on both sides. Better group will win. Go Chiefs. 27-21. I like it, Cody. That could be very well not only the actual score, it could be my preview as well. Excuse me. That's twice. Third time's the charm, folks, and we will wrap it up. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the mismatch. Now, Fred Warner is a special case. I don't think that you're going to get a ton over on him because he's seen it all. But let's be real. They have not been playing that well in this postseason. I personally feel that while Greenlaw has graded out well, I think he can be had by Travis and certainly by if they can get the shift going to the slot receivers. I think there's something there. The question for me, the X factor, is going to be Logan Ryan. Ton of experience, a ton of visual, has played the Chiefs quite a bit and been on teams that have beaten the Chiefs. That's going to be an interesting one. So let's hope. that the Chiefs linebackers can stack up. They are on paper not as quality a unit, but they are close. If you had to predict Spag's game plan, what will it be? He's going to talk this week. You guys are going to hear it more. I'll probably be on some of the press sessions, and I'll try to ask some questions for you. He's going to talk up Purdy. He's going to be very complimentary. He is going to be respectful, and he is going to give him absolutely no poster material. But he is going to put him to the test. He's going to A-dog him right up the middle. He's going to bring corners. He's going to do that while he is doing some shifting on the backside to confuse him. I think he's also going to play dummy a couple of times and show him a too high or a very vanilla look, and then just change the rules of engagement. So I think that's going to be the key, is understanding what Purdy can do. They're going to feel that out through the first quarter, and they're going to make their adjustments, and they're going to be on the attack. And I think he's going to try to do everything he can, especially without a many here. It's going to be tough to make sure that Purdy is not on track, that he is uncomfortable in his drops, and that third step, he's got some heat. That's what he's got to be doing. Gary, can you see Veach draft down and pick up draft picks? Trade down and pick up picks is always a tough one, and try to get that out of the camera angle there. Because you're foregoing talent. And right now the Chiefs have dramatic need at two positions, at tackle and at wide receiver. Now, the whole Chris thing is going to be the Chris thing, and I think you got to backfill some talent at tackle on the defensive side, but I think free agency could play a role there. If you lose Chris Jones, if you tag him and you're going to trade him, you're going to get value. The trade down is going to be if it happens like it happened last year, where all the tackles that you have graded in the first round go. Maybe most of the tackles that you had graded in the second round go. And then all the wide receivers that you had first and top 50 grades on, they go. And you don't have an opportunity. You can't find a trade partner to go up, so you're sitting there at 32. And there's nobody on your board. Last year, they got forced into taking a guy that was a fringe first rounder. I had him in the, I want to say 40 to 45 range in FAU, and they got forced into taking him. I think that's what they want to avoid this year. So maybe they will, if they get in that situation, trade back. And if they do, they will certainly pick up. I think they have to keep it to day 3 picks. So I don't expect them to trade back far, and I don't expect them to give up anything that could cost them getting more top 100 picks. And if you guys would ask somebody to join, we're sitting in here with 666 tonight, and that makes me nervous. So I would love to see somebody else join real quick. There you go. Well done. Do we need to get a QB and stop the run first, like last week? Yes. I mean, those are the two things. And I think what the Niners are probably going to do is understand that and come out respectively. And so I think they're going to try to push the pass first. So they got to be prepared, not just for both aspects, but in reverse order as well. Thanks, Red. Sean, should KC use contain on the D-line like they did with Lamar against the Niners, keep McCaffrey going side to side rather than north-south? I don't think so. Contain does not really force running backs to go side to side. That's really about collapsing the pocket, and it usually happens 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I think forcing McCaffrey to get horizontal rather than vertical north-south like you're talking about is about interior run fits and clogging those holes. And that comes down to who's going to be at the tackle and what are the linebackers doing. Are you run blitzing or are you playing it safe? I think for the most part, they want to play it safe and read and react. I don't think they want to force the thing in blitzing against the run. They want to save that for the pass. But I don't think Purdy is somebody that has to be contain rushed. So you really do want to get after him and get in his grill as fast as you can. So for George Karlaftis, for Mike Dana, maybe it's Malik Herring. Maybe there's some coming up that we don't know about yet. Certainly FAU. You want to get to your wide comfortable so you can put the tackle at a disadvantage with your angle from the get-go and get to that kid's face. Use your length, and I do think that is a plus for FAU. So let's hope that wants to happen. Let's see. I'm going to try and clean this up real quick, you guys, just to see there's anybody that needs out. Well, we're going to do this then. Because I don't like conflict in the chat. And that's just the way that I am. So, yeah, we're going to leave that at that right now. I think everything that ought to take care of it. We'll see. That said, I think you have to have a healthy respect for Christian McCaffrey. And I think you have to make sure that you're playing every fit correctly up and down the line, not just necessarily on the edges. Frankie, will the Niners run a 6-0 lineman like the Bills did against it? It seems like that was extremely effective against our defense. It can be, and I don't know that the Niners really want to do that, though. I don't recall. Hopefully we can dig that information up about how many times they have done that. I don't believe it's been much. When I look at run blocking for them in the playoffs, it does look specifically like the majority of the snaps have been with a central offensive line. I don't see sixth guys coming in. I doubt that they do that. I doubt that they have the depth to do it. I'm looking right now at their depth chart, and I just don't see the horses to get into that kind of battle like you have with the Bills. 1 second here. Let me confirm that and make sure I'm not foregoing somebody, because you have a great point, Frankie. Like it was effective for the most part. And when I look at depth right now, there's nobody there. Yeah, the backups in San Francisco don't scare me. So I don't see a sixth offensive line coming in and getting it done. But I do like that you keyed in on that, and that is something that I think on film looks attractive to the opposition. Do the Niners not have their own fan pages and channels? That's sad. Maybe somebody should do good enough to grow your fan base. Yeah, I mean, there's some great ones out there. I don't know the names of them, but my guy Crocker, just search Eric Crocker and you'll get some of the best 49ers content there is out there. So please do check that out. Brother Rick, do you see any interesting tight end prospects in the upcoming draft? There's a number of them. It's just that nobody's really Travis-esque in terms of being a guy that lines up 50% at wide receiver or more. The guy that, Dan and I were discussing here in the last week was Johnny Wilson from Florida State. He didn't finish the week in Mobile, unfortunately. But he's got that kind of body type, but he's not an explosive guy. He's long and he takes a little bit of time to get up to speed. So like being in line and being right in the trench where you have to come off the ball, I don't know that that's his thing. The kid from Texas, I think, is very, very popular. That makes perfect sense to me. I think an H-back might be the next thing that the Chiefs add, a little bit more like Noah. I like the kid Westbrook from Washington. There's a couple other guys out there as well. The other guy that's pretty thick, and I struggle with his name, so let me pull it up on my lists. And I believe it's Holker, Dallin Holker from Colorado State. Late day 3, you can get him. He could be an interesting prospect as well. Not a lot of investment, but a guy that can play wide receiver, has already, and I think has better ball skills than most people give him credit for. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate you, and I'll keep an eye out for more tight ends. Dub Free Freer, hope you're doing well. Cheers for the support, buddy. Do you feel like 74 could be a liability for the O-line? I'm worried Bosa will have a field day like Hutchinson did week 1. Got to try and keep Mahomes clean. I think there's two things. If they stack outside of Nick and they blitz off of Nick, where Juwan has to make decisions, maybe. But in terms of getting to a spot, Joey Bosa's better hand fighting. Yes. I do believe Juwan has the reach advantage. And I think his feet are as nearly as athletic as they get in this league. And I think that gives him the ability to defend Bosa's initial rush. The problem's going to be when he punches and misses and Bosa gets into his chest, he's going to jack him up. And if Juwan gets on his heels, he's done. Because Bosa will not let that go. But I don't feel like that's the game we're going to get from Bosa. Excuse me. So I'm a little bit more worried you're going to see him more on Donovan and a guy that isn't as quick a foot, and he's going to get into his pads. And that's where it puts him at a bigger disadvantage, I believe. So look to see where he lines up, and that may give away just exactly what we think is going to happen. I'm looking here, folks. I'm going to grab the last questions, and we're going to wrap it up. And then Chris and I are going to do Locked On Chiefs tonight, and then I'm going to hang out with the fam. So, Dub Freak, appreciate you as always. Latrell, thank you. Do you think Mahomes will get 3 Super Bowl MVPs? Yes. Does it happen this time? I'm not 100%, but I think he does end with 3 or more in his career. Thanks, buddy. Alex, Ryan, let's just go for any tight end that played at Iowa. I mean, you got a good point. I did not give Laporta the respect to project him well enough. I undersold him. So, yes, I agree. Iowa tight ends, get you some if you can. Thanks, Alex. Mark, chances 87 has another huge game. Let's be real. They're going to do everything they can to stop him. Chiefs can still win without him, but it's going to be tough. So he's got to perform. So in terms of a huge game, in either multiple touchdowns or 100 yards, I put it at 50-50. He might get close and they still have a chance to win, and that's probably the most likely scenario, Mark. That's what I see right now. Yeah, I'm working on it, Justin. I've actually been pretty good the last few weeks, but, I got kids in different schools and stuff goes wrong. And, next thing you know, everybody's got something from somewhere else. I don't think Ward can handle Watson's double moves. Maybe not, Longmorn. I mean, Justin's got to sell him pretty hard to get Javarius to bite on him, though, because unless he gets a really good release, I feel like Ward feels like he can hang with him. Who's going to stop McCaffrey? Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, and Willie Gay. And Leo Chanel. I hope that they use Bugs. I hope that they elevate him and they have some girth in there. Mike Pinnell's going to get a long run. We're going to see a lot there. Carlos, can they get EB back? They can. The question will be, does he choose to have interest? Do the Chiefs have interest, and does he choose to return? Those are the two questions. Was there an MVP of the AFC Championship game? I don't think they named one. Not 100% on that. Justin, it looks like that's what I'm hearing. I think he was listed as limited participant the other day. Let's double check that before I tell a fib. No, I lied. I was incorrect. Willie was a full participant on Thursday and Friday. So yes, I think Willie's going to play. And Alex, sleeper pick for Super Bowl MVP is Pop. I like that. If that happens to be true, Chiefs win. And that's what I'm here for. I'm also here for you, and I appreciate you guys being here for us. I hope you enjoyed Sunday Night Live. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and hit that sub right now. We got content for you all week long. Live Q&A tomorrow night with Dan and myself, and we'll go through even more of your questions. We'll start looking at specific matchups as you guys are already there. And we're going to get into Super Bowl week. Check out Underdog Fantasy. Use our code RGR right now. Help us, help you, help them to do you and get the stuff in the business going. Thank you for all your time tonight. We appreciate you. Tomorrow night is standard time, 7 p.m. Central. We'll see you all back here. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you then.